We are now in week 10 of our 16-week semester, and we're talking about leaping ahead from the years 1955 to 1960. And we're on page 408 of the text. Rural collectivization was enforced to increase revenue from the countryside, but output stagnated. Rising discontent in socialist countries, not China, alarmed the Beijing leadership. The Great Leap Forward was started in 1958 to make major progress in industrialization and modernization. The Great Leap Forward was one of the worst calamities in modern Chinese history. Economic mismanagement and natural disaster led to a famine that killed more than 20 million people. The government developed a grassroots institution called the hukou as the basis for resource allocation and subsidization of selected groups. By the end of the 1950s, everyone in Chinese society had been assigned an urban or rural identity through the system. The hukou system allowed the government to regulate internal migration. Someone who is not registered to the hukou of an area couldn't live there. This is the hukou identity. It's kind of like a little passport. Statutes stipulated that every citizen had to be registered at their place of residence by the Ministry of State Security. The communists wanted to cultivate the married couple as a new unit of political action. Marriage, family, and gender roles were key elements in the new society. The 1950 marriage law ran into considerable resistance given traditional views towards marriage and family relationships. Here's a couple of propaganda posters that were in support of the marriage law, the adjusted marriage law. The state intervened to eradicate practices it viewed as backward and feudal, and specifically about religion. The communists recognized 5 religions: Taoism, Buddhism, Islam, Catholicism, and Protestantism. Activities of religions were organized into, quote, patriotic organizations, unquote, which cooperated with the government. Many members went underground and dropped visible signs of their membership. Another key transformation effort was classifying ethnic populations. Government census showed that more than 200 separate minzu, or ethnic populations, but only 25 were recognized in new categories. By 1964, there were 53 recognized minzu. They created new classes in society. The red types were the low and middle class peasants, revolutionary cadres, soldiers, and martyrs. The black elements were landlords, rich peasants, counter-revolutionaries, rightists, and intellectuals. So obviously it was better to be in the red than in the black. These classes became the basis for class discrimination. The Bank of China remained independent but was incorporated into the People's Bank of China as its foreign exchange trading arm. They brought inflation under control by issuing a new currency, the renminbi, by the end of 1950. Renminbi stands for the people's currency. The communist leaders agreed all private ownership of means of production should be eventually abolished. And here's a picture of renminbi, and that's Mao Zedong's picture on all the various denominations. Mao was against a mixed economy and stressed a program of economic change far more ambitious. Mao felt as long as there were capitalists and market structures, the socialist project was at great risk. The existing economic structure based on private ownership would be replaced by a system operated exclusively on the basis of state and collective ownership. And I'm going to stop there, and we'll take it up in part 2.